let's see. Go to hit Zoom, Cube Zoom. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, fancy.
Oh.
And I just want to reiterate what I said last week. Even though there are only 3 of you, this is still a class that we're recording for the benefit of other people. So this is a T is peaching. P is
I'm Peach. I'm Peach.
P is
peach
teaching.
I'm just a fuzzy peach.
He is teaching to not only you guys, but to the recording audience.
And there's
viewing
thousands of them
past
out
to
there.
thousands. And so this hour is not the time for individual help. Come look at my screen. It's not doing what you want. But he'll do that at 11.
Yeah.
So let him teach his thing. Now, if you don't understand what he's saying, questions of clarification, absolutely. Like, he makes a statement and you don't understand it. But in terms of your own computers, that needs to wait until 11 so he can get through his teaching.
Yep.
Thank you.
And the whole idea is that if we can get through it, and there's something that even if I was to explain it to you and you still have questions, you can always go back and watch the video and fast forward, stop, rewind, play. But for the people that might also watch it that aren't in class today, they don't have to sit here and watch me spend 15 minutes explaining how to load Chrome. Make sense? All right, so the other thing is, and you guys, your eyes are your eyes. So if you can see from back there, have at it. But otherwise, you can probably see better if you're closer. Make sense? All right, so what we're talking about today is Docusign. And Docusign is what's going to replace .loop. Now, from now until the end of the year, we have both. So you have .loop and we have Docusign. Okay? Today, and today is October the 4th, about the only thing that we don't have in Docusign that we do have in .loop is the GAR forms. Okay? We can still do electronic signature. We can still put stuff and categorize it in the document management system. Okay, the only thing that we don't have today is a form that pops up and you can and it automatically puts your buyer or seller where they're supposed to be on the form. Technically, if that wasn't the end of the world, you could actually go into Docusign today and put the buyer and the seller in there manually and make it all happen. But it'd be kind of a pain because there's 200 and something forms that we got, right? And so I guess what Keller Williams is doing, and what we'll call the enterprise license that we have with Docusign, is we're paying Docusign to go and put these fields in these forms for us. But we could absolutely do it ourselves. It's just nobody wants to do it, and I can't blame them. But so Docusign is going to replace .loop. But today, between today and the end of the year, we can do both. So when we go into opportunities and you create a transaction, when you create the transaction, you either choose .loop or Docusign. But you can't choose both. And once you've committed to transaction number 99 or whatever transaction you're working with, once you've committed to, say, .loop, you can't just change it to Docusign. Okay? Now, in a previous, I don't know if it's a class or a video or something I did, I showed everybody how you can get your stuff out of .loop and into Docusign. And if I do a decent job today, I'm going to show you an even cooler trick that you could take stuff from, let's say you did a Docusign deal back in January. You did a .loop deal back in January, and you want to put all of your 2019 stuff into Command so that you can see your production for the year. You can absolutely get all of that stuff and you can put it in a room in Docusign and never have to go file, upload, download, and do all. You don't have to jump through any hoops to do it. So it's pretty cool. Docusign is a pretty cool piece of software. So
any idea when GAR is going to show up in?
It will be on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the Ides of March.
So yes, you don't know.
No, that's a real date.
Ides of March is March.
When's Easter?
April or March.
Easter is always the first Sunday after the first
So
full
that's
moon
a
after
no.
the
You
Ides of
don't know.
March, right? No, I have no idea. I don't think it's a. I think it's a couple of things. Yes, it's a technical issue because we have 800 Keller Williams offices around the country, right? And you can imagine how many. So there's 800 Keller Williams offices. There's something like 680 MLSs, okay? And you can imagine if we assume for the sake of conversation that every MLS has the same number of forms that we do. So we've got 800 offices, we got 600 and something MLSs, and we got 100 forms per MLS. Somebody at Docusign has got to go out and create all this stuff. I mean, that's 20 or 30 people working full time for months. And if they started alphabetically, so Alaska gets their forms first, then we're kind of midway. I don't know. I have no earthly idea when it's going to happen, and we can speculate it on all day long. But it's like so many other things. I don't know what the right answer is. Supposedly it's soon. That's all I know. All right. So here's what we're going to do. You've got your laptops. You're logged in, and you got command up. All right. Let me, folks, for those at home. All right. So go ahead and get your agent.kw.com logged in and hit sign in. So far, so good for everybody? Okay. When we go to settings, how do we get to settings in command? Anybody remember?
A little arrow next to the name. Your
So
name.
if I go over here to my name and there's a little arrow, you're saying click on that?
Uh-huh.
I click down, click on that, left click one time, and I go to settings. Bingo, front row. Perfect. All right. And now the applications that you currently have hooked up are going to show up at the top. And my guess is Docusign does not show up at the top for you.
Okay. Well, no, Docusign shows up, Dotloop doesn't.
Okay, well that's fine. Dotloop's a whole different ballgame. So today we're talking about Docusign.
DocuSign shows up on mine.
Okay, and does it say connected?
Connect account, yeah.
Mine
It says
says not
connect account.
Mine
Okay.
says not
Oh,
connected.
Okay, so if it says not connected, then click. What's my option? Because you're my eyes. Right
Connect
there.
account.
Connect account. What does yours say?
Connect account and
All right.
pop that button open.
Okay.
And then it gets a registration form. Docusign
Perfect.
connection.
Perfect. Now, before you go and register, let me ask you a question. Do any of you have a, quote, pre-existing DocuSign account? You do? No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Have you ever done a real estate transaction with another broker who sent you a document and they used DocuSign and therefore you had to create an account to complete the transaction?
That may have happened.
Okay. So, here's a challenge. If you have a pre-existing Docusign account and or you have a paid Docusign account, then there's a very good likelihood that we're going to have to call Docusign and say, hey Docusign, I'm with Keller Williams. As you know or you should know, we have this CRM called Command, and I need you guys to tweak it so that my existing Docusign account now works with our stuff. Have you tried that already?
Mm-hmm.
And what
I
they do?
emailed it probably
Did
8
you-
times.
Did you talk to anybody on the phone?
No, because
Did you try?
I didn't want to talk to somebody overseas. I wanted to talk to
No,
somebody
no. They
overseas.
got everybody I've talked to. You can understand.
Okay.
And so if you open another tab on Chrome right now and you say DocuSign support telephone number, 800 number pops up. I've never had to wait more than a couple of minutes.
Should I try?
We're going to try that, but I want to say that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Docusign support.
Yep. So just Google DocuSign support. You'll get the 800 number. Call them up while you're in front of a computer and explain to them, what you're trying to do. So now, Now let's go forward. So when you clicked on connect DocuSign, what's the screen say?
Well, do you want me to register now?
Yep, go ahead and
Okay.
register. But let's try, I'm assuming that even if you have a pre-existing account, that you're going to still use the same name and login, correct? So why don't you try that first and
Let's
see if
see what
it
it says. It looks like it says authorized in progress. Well,
Okay.
it says in progress.
Okay, in progress.
And mine, I'm going to change my other email just to nancy@kw. Should I not do that?
So you want to use a new one that you've never
Yeah.
used before?
But I'd like to keep the files that
That you currently
I
have?
currently have. And
Okay.
when I
But-
was
but-
with the other firm, they let me change names back and forth.
Yes.
They
They
mean
being DocuSign.
So
DocuSign.
it,
Okay.
it
All
showed
right.
up.
So you want to have two different accounts, is what you're
It's
saying?
kinda like
No,
this
I only
Facebook
have
thing
one.
right
You
here.
want to only have
I
one.
only have
wasn't
one,
connected.
but
You had it
in that
connected
one,
now.
again, that
Okay,
I
the
paid for,
registration form
they
showed up.
said Nancy at Dorsey
Well,
Austin.
why don't you
Nancy
try
at-
it and see what happens?
Okay.
So when it says register right here, just try it, right? Make sense? The confused look on your face says it may or may not be working.
But try,
I just hit registration and it's loading. Still,
Okay. Okay.
but my computer's well loaded.
That's
So
all
you
right.
getting in progress?
I don't have a messages.
So where, next to where it said, on the very, very far right, it said authorized, it says resend, mine says resend email, and then it says in progress.
Oh, it says resend email?
Yeah, but it says current, in progress, current status.
Is it going around? Is there anything in the bottom left corner that says waiting or cache or anything
Bottom left corner.
of your browser?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay.
and when I try to sign
that's
in
right.
my old account,
Right.
it just
You got that in
says it's not
progress?
associated with Keller.
Did you also get that resend email message?
Because you're clicking
I didn't
command?
see if the email
Is
came
that,
through.
or just on a different
Oh,
web
so
browser?
we think they may be sending
You're-
an
if you're in a
email.
I'm
different-
in command,
Okay.
and it just says, sorry, we don't associate it with Keller Williams.
And that's why I'm saying, that's where you have to call them up and say, hey,
Call DocuSign or Keller Williams.
DocuSign.
Okay, I got an email from
Tell them they don't
DocuSign.
answer. Well, okay.
Every time I've called, I've never had an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Is it a rooms account? I got an email that says,
Yeah, you got it. If you got an email,
just wanna make sure.
and it says accept invite, perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay. All right. Did you get an email?
that's what
We'll just open up a new tab right here and go into Gmail and check your email.
Yeah, well, I figured it'd be easy, I just did it on my phone, yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. We'll open it then. Hit accept invite.
Okay, so we have to do password.
That's why I said if you do it on your bigger screen,
Yeah,
pull
it
out
would have been
easier.
easy, I didn't realize. I thought it was just gonna be one of those things where you just,
So you're creating your account, you're confirming your email, you got a password, and once we get that, then we're off to the races.
Can I do this on my phone or no? It's harder.
Yeah, you probably could, but yeah, it's gonna be harder. But yeah, you could go into command, you could go into settings and do all of that. All right, where are we?
waiting for it to activate.
You did what?
Waiting for it to activate.
Okay. All right, so go back into command. to the settings and refresh your screen, and then tell me if it says connected.
Nope.
What's it say?
It's got the same.
And you
message.
refreshed?
Yeah, should we go maybe, because on my phone, it definitely did it. Let's go back. I'm gonna go back. Cool.
Where's your show?
Is that agreement?
Oh, you're in.
Okay.
You're in. Yep. You go. Yep. You're golden. All right. So go back over. All right. So go back over to command. Okay. And refresh. And there's Docusign. It says loading. And
Do I hit authorize?
hit authorize. And whatever your new password is, or the one that you put in there.
How did you get it to do that?
Yeah, might as well save it.
Did you get an email that said activate
Mhm.
and then it says blah, 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 and then you put your password?
I did, and I
Yes,
did
yeah.
questions, and I did
Okay.
everything.
I've
You're
only
golden.
gotten,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Should it say in progress? I've gone ahead and set up the passcode, but it still says in progress.
All right, did you get your email?
I did,
And you hit authorize.
yes.
Okay. And so right
I
here.
didn't hit it here, I hit
Yeah,
it
so
on.
hit authorize right there.
Okay, it's working on my phone, but not my computer, that's.
Okay, go ahead and log in. When it pops up with your password, if that's indeed the same password, I would just be
Yeah.
double dog sure and put in. Accept. You just signed away all your
I know.
personal network.
It's like everything.
Okay, and now you're connected.
Okay,
Life
perfect.
is good.
So, this is it.
And will it stay connected?
You're in.
Or every time I want
No,
to check into?
no, it's actually a good question. So the question is, so now every time that I go into Docusign, will it remember my password? Most of the time, the answer is no. Okay, but sometimes you have software on your computer that's a password that reads all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to say unequivocally no, but most of the time no. So what happens is when we get into command and you go into an opportunity and you start working your document management system, which is Docusign, what's going to happen is you're going to have in your Chrome browser, you'll have one tab that's open that's command, and then you'll have another tab that's open that's Docusign. So you can flip back and forth between the two of them. Okay? So you'll literally have two tabs. A lot of the work that you do, if you think about it, historically, for people that never even had a CRM before, the only thing you ever used was dot loop and green sheets, right? Most everybody, if their CRM was their address book on an iPhone or their Google Contacts, they didn't have a CRM, right? But everybody used dot loop and everybody used green sheets. Well, theoretically, if you didn't even want to use command as a CRM, you could just use Docusign to have these documents going back and forth and do e-signature, right? And then, of course, you would have to use command for the green sheet part of it, but there's nothing that says you have to use command as a CRM. So Docusign is a piece of software that's written by a company called Docusign. It is not owned by KW at all. And it's a totally different piece of software, and that piece of software has been around for a long time. Okay? And it's a pretty slick piece of software, and you can do a lot of things with it. So we're going to talk today mostly about Docusign, and then I'm going to tie it back in at the end back into Command and show you how you get into Docusign from Command. But you don't have to get into Docusign from Command. You can go directly to Docusign by going to Docusign.com and logging in, which now all of you can do because you just created an account. Does that make sense? So, we're not going to talk about Command for a few minutes. We're just going to talk about Docusign. So, I am going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to Docusign.com, and I'm going to hit enter. And you should do the same thing, and hopefully your screen looks like my screen. Docusign.com. And in the top right corner it says log in. I left click one time on log in. I put in my email address.
Hold on.
That I just used to register.
Where did you find the login?
Top right corner, the word login. So you went to Docusign.com, correct?
Yeah, let's see.
In the top right corner it says login. Right above the square, there's a square that says contact sales.
Now, I went to it gave me to a different screen the first time, but I got it now.
Okay, so we're going to log in. You're going to put in the email address that you just got your account for. And you're going to hit continue. You're going to put in your password. Click log in. Generally speaking, once you log in to Docusign, there are really two different screens, or there are two different sides to this website. One side of the website is the document management side that allows you to manage all of your documents in and out. And the other side is the e-signature side, or what we call the envelopes side. So the document management side is called rooms. In .loop, we call them loops. In Docusign, we call them rooms. So there's two sides to the Docusign website. There's the rooms side, and there's the envelopes side. So rooms is where we keep all of our stuff. Envelopes is how we get stuff in and out of the room. That make sense? So right now, once you log in, you go to the envelopes side, which is the screen you're looking at right now. Now, the quickest way to get to the rooms is, you see your icon in the top right corner? You click on your icon and you say switch to rooms, it will take you over to your rooms. Hopefully, in just a second. Boom. And so what you're looking at on the screen are my rooms. As you can see, I have 5 rooms right now. Now to get back over to the envelopes, I click on my profile in the top right corner and I say switch to e-signature.
You went where?
I clicked on my icon in the top right corner. I left click one time on my face and I switched to e-signature.
It's doing something different. Okay. It totally ended up taking me out and taking me back to KW. Because it came up with a screen saying you're not authorized through KW.
You are not, or you are?
I am, but it brought me back to Command.
Okay. Well, how many tabs do you have open on your browser?
I had those two. It says, congratulations, you're only one step left to start your DocuSign. Click here to authorize your account.
Click on, so authorize it.
Okay, so it has me back at Command. Is there a way from the settings screen to click onto DocuSign? Because it kicked me
In
off.
Command?
Yeah.
Well, there is, but you go to opportunities. All right, so you have 1, 2, 3, you have 4 different tabs open. So let's close some of these. You got 3 different instances of Command running.
Right, because it kept on,
That's fine.
it
So
brought me
close-
back to
So
it.
close all of them except for 1. All right, that's
See-
good. All right, that's good. Authorize.
But I've done that, and it's
That's
going
fine.
to watch. It's going to kick me back to Command.
That's fine. That's fine. At least, right, so then close that one over there. Okay. All right, so now open the tab that's Docusign.
Oh, it's not closed.
It'll close in a second.
Okay.
Don't worry about that one. You've already,
Okay, go.
just X out of that.
You want me to open this one or no?
Just X out right here.
Okay.
Okay, so click on your icon and then say switch to e-signature. All right, and now your screen looks like my screen.
Thank you.
Okay, now if we're in e-signature, how do we get to rooms?
You go back to the icon,
Go back to the icon and do what?
switch
What does it say?
switch to rooms.
Bingo. So that's where you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
My rooms does not look like yours.
That's correct. Well, we're not on rooms right now. I'm on envelopes.
Oh, okay.
How do I get to rooms?
How do we get to envelopes?
Well, does your does your rooms look like my rooms is going to in a second? Does your rooms look like my rooms? That's because you don't have any rooms,
Okay.
okay? But up in the top right corner, you also don't have a picture of yourself because you haven't put a picture up there yet.
Surprisingly, I didn't put one in there, but my picture showed up.
Ah,
Well, you came from somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
It just,
Okay. All right. So click on your picture or click on your icon, and then you have 4 choices: contacts, settings, switch to e-signature, and sign out. Correct?
oh.
What are your choices?
Manage my Google account, passwords, payment methods, addresses.
You're not in Docusign.
I am in Docusign.
This icon right here.
I think once we get
Click
it.
and switch to e-signature.
I've never seen anything else.
Okay. Your icon right here. Switch to rooms. So going back and forth. You're clicking on that icon up there,
Like putting in
Google
the-
Chrome icon,
I was on
not
Google,
the.
oh, no, my contacts.
Okay. So how do you switch back?
So back home.
Nope, not that one.
Now
That
I'll be
one.
able to use it
That
as a
one.
There you
CRM,
go.
which I really
Perfect.
was kind of using Edge as a CRM.
Okay.
And it's just not designed for that.
Okay, so here's where I want to go, or let me explain. Hopefully, I can explain what we're about to do before we do it. One of the things that's kind of neat about Docusign is you get an email address with Docusign, which means that you can email documents straight into Docusign. You don't have to email it to yourself and then go into your email and then take it out and download it and then upload it back into Docusign, because you're going to get a new email address. You can email stuff directly into Docusign.
Is that like when we have to scan something? Is
Bingo.
That what, okay.
All right, so right now, when you scan something, you go to one of these scanners out here and your name's already in there, right? That's kind of nice. However, the email address that's in the scanner right now is your KW email address, correct?
Yeah.
So have you ever scanned anything out there and sent it to somebody else outside of KW?
Not yet.
But you're about to, okay? But so you can. You could have a whole wad of paper. You could go back to the scanners back here. You could scan it in, and you could email it to your brother in Tupelo. You can anywhere you want to. So what we're about to do is we're about to create your own Docusign email, so that when you have things that you want to go directly into Docusign, you can email them directly into Docusign without having to go through 3 or 4 different steps. But we have to set up our email address first. Okay? The way that we do that, if I remember correctly, is we go to Settings. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yep. All right. So are you on the envelopes page or are you on the rooms page?
Envelope.
Okay, I don't think it makes any difference, but if you click on the icon, the Docusign icon, in the top right corner, not the icon of Chrome, but the icon of Docusign, left click one time. Your choices are contacts, settings, switch to e-signature, and sign out. Or If you're already in the rooms, if you're already in e-signature, it would be contacts, settings, switch to rooms, sign out.
It's my profile, my preferences, switch to rooms, log out.
Okay, is settings one of them?
No,
Okay. Settings one for everybody else.
Mine looks like that.
Yours looks like mine? Okay, so I want you to left click
So
one
what am
time
I
on
doing?
settings.
why do I always have the problem?
And over here on the left-hand side, it says profile, email and password, contact information, blah, 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 blah. Correct? I want you to left click one time on email and password. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. I want you to go to inbox details. So wave at me when you get there. Okay.
Okay, how about the fact that I was able to get through with rooms, but not with envelopes, but it doesn't matter.
I just want to go, I need to go to,
I got you to the screen. Where did you want us to go to?
all right, I want to go to inbox details.
Okay. All right.
Everybody there? All right. Notice over here on the right-hand side, it says inbound email, and mine says pete.english@mail.docusign.net. And yours says something like BR5WAQXQ exclamation point JJJ whatever.
That's exactly what mine
Hey,
is.
I know these things. All right. So I want you to double click on that BR549JJ whatever it is and turn it blue. And hit backspace one time. And I want you to put whatever email address you would like to have this as. I put pete.english because that's also my KW email address, and it makes it easy for me to remember. So if you don't like fred.flintstone, then put whatever you want in there.
Does it need a dot there or?
Does not need a dot. It can be anything you want it to be. I would suggest that make it the same thing as whatever you have in front of .kw.com.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would do. In your case, it would be J. Posner. And what we're doing here is we're creating a Docusign email address. Now, if you wanted to, you could also get a fax number, which means you would have your own fax number, and if somebody wanted to fax something directly into your DocuSign
What's
room,
fax?
you could do it. Okay. Now, what about if you wanted a telex number? Trick question.
Telex as in overseas or?
Telex could be next door. It's just not anything anybody does anymore. I was just trying to see if anybody knew what telex was.
No idea.
All
I
right.
don't think people fax anymore. It's like amazing how, that at one point.
You would be
was a thing.
surprised. Before I worked at Keller Williams, I worked for a technology firm, and we did integrations for large corporations, mainly imaging systems. So we did all the faxing for Bank of America, Wachovia, SunTrust, every law firm you've ever heard of, every hospital you've ever heard of. There are bazillions of faxes that go on every day. In healthcare, you can't even imagine. In hospitals, people fax from the third floor to the first floor because it's faster than getting the elevator at the hospital.
DeKalb County, that's all you get.
Yeah.
That's how you get water.
So do.
We did all the faxing for DeKalb, for the DeKalb systems, right? Everything at Piedmont, everything at St. Joe, we did it all.
So should we create a fax number or?
I wouldn't, because
Okay.
like you said, very few people ever use fax anymore. And sometimes it becomes more complicated because you
Okay.
will never remember what that number is. You have to look it up on your phone, and you look like an idiot because you can't remember where you put it.
Okay.
But if you want to, you always come back to settings, inbox details, and get yourself a fax number.
And it's
Well,
free.
Angel, if we put our regular,
Well, so
put
when
the office in, will
So what
Angel
happens
have-
when it comes to Angel is Angel gets it and she routes it to you via email. All right? Which means she's going to route it to your KW email. But if you were to tell her to route it to this email address right here, it would route directly into your Docusign account.
So if you don't have a fax number, you leave no choice but for that purchaser or that client or whatever, the other agent, they have to email it,
Well, yeah, but they could email it to your KW email address.
which is what I did here.
All right. Well, but your the email address you're creating right now is at mail.docusign.net.
Oh,
Okay. So you don't put .kw.com in there. Just put what is your KW email address?
Nancy A. at,
Okay. So what I would suggest you put in this field right here is Nancy A. and leave it at Nancy A. because it's going to automatically append at mail.docusign.net.
So when we put a listing in now,
Yep.
instead of putting our email as kw.com, should we put it in as,
Depends.
because
So
we
you-
only needed to,
so you gotta
have to get the document for it.
Well, so the challenge you have is sometimes you're going to communicate with another agent via email, and sometimes you're going to want documents to come. So I can't answer your question for you. You just have to know that you have two different email addresses and when to play that card. Okay? Because if you have a conversation with another agent and they are going to email you documents, then you say, let me give you a different email address.
All right.
And you say, send it to, okay? To the that's right
Docusign.
at
Okay.
mail.docusign.net. And as you'll see in just a second, it's the slickest thing ever. It just comes in there. You don't have to do anything.
so will it come into the KW account, or do I have to adjust my phone to start doing at mail.docusign?
Well, it's going to come into the Docusign room. Okay? We haven't gotten into rooms yet, but it's going to come into the room.
But how would I know that it's there?
Because you're going to be in Docusign every day, all day, doing stuff.
what they're,
And you're also going to get a notification on your KW email
Okay.
address. You'll get more notifications than you can ever imagine. As a matter of fact, one of the things that you will do in your preferences is you'll set up how much notification you want to get. All right, so everybody's set up their email address, correct?
Right, should we save changes?
Save changes.
Your inbox detail has been saved. Okay.
Bingo. Now, notice over here on the left it says notifications. Left click one time on notifications. And there are no less than whatever that is, 9, 10, 12 different ways that Docusign is going to notify you about stuff in your rooms. So Nancy asked a question, what happens if somebody sends something in there? How do I know? It's kind of like a thermos. Ever wondered about a thermos? It keeps hot things hot and cold things cold. How do it know? So if an email gets into Docusign, how do it know? Right? It's because you're setting up all of these right here. Now, Pete, I'm an email guy. I'm not a text guy. You all may be text people. That's fine. So over here, if someone views a document that you have shared, okay, Nancy and I are doing a deal, and you send me a contract, and you want to know when I open it and look at it. Guess what? If you will check this box right here, every time I open it and look at it, you're going to get notified. And if you have an envelope and you take that contract and you send it to the buyer, and you send it to their real estate agent, and you send it to the law firm, and you send it to the lender, you're going to get 4 emails. Every time somebody opens it, you're going to get notified. And at some point, you go, oh my God, enough already. So how much you want to get notified is directly related to how many check boxes you have right here.
Now, if you would like to get it by phone, how do you switch that? Because it automatically.
When you say by phone, you mean like a
Text.
well, so you click over here where it says, well, say phone.
It won't. No, it won't let you click on that.
All right, if you take the
So I think the first.
if you
there's
take
a
the
thing that
check
said-
box off right here, you should have an ad
Okay, that's
ad
probably
hoc,
what it
right?
is.
maybe
We'll
I'm
just leave it
going
the way it is.
further than what you want to cover, but it's like on paid Docusign, nobody can remove my name from a document that I sent out. But on this one, you can, or someone can. It's like someone shares or removes your access from a document.
Well, you're assuming that somebody has more access than you have. So there are a lot of companies that use Docusign that aren't real estate companies. Okay. So I mean, theoretically, you could literally, if you wanted to sell your riding lawnmower, and you wanted to have a bill of sale, and you would do electronic signature, you could just create a room right here. It has nothing to do with real estate. Just create a room and do it.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So that's really what the thing that I really wanted to show you was how to create your own email address so that you can email documents directly into your Docusign account, and it saves you a bunch of time from having to take it out of KW email, download it to your computer, upload it back into Docusign. All right, so notice at the top of my screen up here it says Dashboard, Rooms, Inbox, and My Docs. We're not going to talk about My Docs today. The shorthand of My Docs is you can have your own documents in there. So just like we have a bunch of GAR forms, if you had some documents, say you had a photographer's release form, all right, that's not a GAR form. But you've got some freelance photographer that shoots all your houses for you, and you want to have a release form that says, hey, you're shooting pictures for me, but I own rights to use them in any manner I like. Well, you could create your own document in My Docs, and every time you do it, you could do an e-signature back and forth with the freelance photographer you use. Okay. Inbox is where I'm going to click on Inbox because I have 3 emails in here. Or it looks like I have 4, but I have 3 new ones. Okay? And these are the ones that came in. Do each of you on your respective computers have a PDF file somewhere on your computer? You do? You got a PDF file? PDF file on your computer somewhere? I don't care what it is, but you got one, right? All right. So go into your email client, whichever one you use, whether it's Gmail, whether it's Outlook, whether it's AOL, Mail, whatever. Go into your email, open up a new tab, and go into email right now. Raise your hand when you're there. Good. Good. Nancy, waiting on you.
I'm not quite sure. Keep going. I'm not quite sure what you want.
I want you to open up a new tab in Chrome
Okay.
and go to whatever email. Do you use Gmail for your email?
Mhm.
Go to Gmail.
Okay.
Okay? And let me know when you're there. You can actually do it on your phone too. You there?
There.
All right. I want you to send a new email. So in Gmail, you hit the plus sign, correct? So send a new email, and the person that I want you to send the email to, the address that I want you to send the email to, is the address you just created. In your case, it's going to be Nancy at mail.docusign.net.
With all those numbers, or just
No, because remember you backspace all those numbers. Those numbers are gone now. It's now Nancy or whatever you typed in at mail.docusign.net. Not docusign.com, docusign.net. All right? So now you've addressed the email, and I want you to put an attachment on this email, and I want you to go out to your computer, and I want you to find a PDF file, and I want you to attach that PDF file to this email. Before you hit send, raise your hand and say, I'm ready. You ready? Ready? Jeannie, we're waiting on you.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Subject line, How about this is a test? Ready? Hit send. All right. Count to 81 by threes.
You have developed a sense of humor from the day one to today.
No, I'm serious. Hey, are you there yet?
Yes.
You're not? Are you there?
No.
All right. So go back to your Docusign tab and refresh.
But I'm like on pro, how do we get to? Settings.
All right, so you're back at Docusign. You are either on the
Okay.
envelopes page or you're on the rooms page. I would prefer that you be on the rooms page. How do you get to the rooms page?
You can click on rooms, but it's not.
You click on your icon. If you're in the envelopes page, if you're in the e-signature page, then your page looks like this. If you're in the rooms page, then your page looks like this. Except you don't have any rooms.
Okay, so.
But at the top, you should have an inbox, and you should have one email in your inbox, right?
Where's the inbox?
It's right here in the top middle.
Doesn't have it.
Doesn't have anything yet. That's why I said you have to count to 81 by threes. And obviously you haven't done that. So it's not immediate. And I will say this. If you, let's say for instance that you had some PDF document
I said the big piece.
and it was 157 pages.
Oh, just came.
Okay, so it just showed up, right? Refresh again, Nancy. Now what you're also going to do, remember those notifications that we just set up just a minute ago? And every one of those boxes is checked? Now you're going to start getting emails that says, you just got a new message in one of your rooms. So if you go back over to your email and you refresh your email, you're going to have a notification that says, from Docusign that says, hey, you just got a document.
Room notification.
There you go, room notification. And guess what? When you wake up tomorrow morning, you're also going to have an email from Docusign, and it's going to say, here's all the activity that happened in your Docusign account overnight. And then Sunday morning, you're going to have an email. It's going to say, here's everything that happened in your Docusign account. So you're going to have an email from Docusign every single day until you go into your preferences and you turn that one off. Okay? So what we just did is we emulated the scanner back here in the workroom. Because had you had a wad of paper in your hand and you walked back to the scanner and you scanned it in and it says what email address do you want to send it to, and you put in a third-party email address, and that third-party email address was nancy@mail.docusign.net, then everything then in the scanner is going to show up just like we did right here. Okay?
Mine's still not in.
It'll come in a second. All right. Now, let's kind of go back to the analogy that we used a minute ago. You're working a deal with a Harry Norman agent, and they say, I'm going to email you the contract. I don't know what system Harry Norman uses. No idea. But if you know that they're about to email you the contract, then you say, let me give you a different email address. And what's the email address going to be?
The Docusign one.
Correct. And what is yours?
jposner@mail.docusign.net.
Bingo. And if I ask you that question 5 times, then it's going to sink in and you're going to know it off the top of your head.
Or you just took a picture of it and kept it on your phone.
Well, but that's why I suggested that you use the same
Right, I just got to.
prefix to your KW address. Now, obviously, you can go out and change it anytime you want to, because I just showed you how to go change it, right? So Nancy, if an agent wants to send you a contract, what email address are you going to tell them to send it to?
I'm going to say, please send it to mail.docusign.net.
Bingo. Bingo. Right? And where's it going to show up? In the inbox, right here. Okay?
But I'm still going to have to count to 81 and threes because it still has not shown up.
That's correct. Okay. Now, here's something. I'm trying to think of when do I present this. All right. So right now, you know you've got a Docusign account, and you know that there's really two different views. You can either be in the e-signature side or you can be in the rooms side. Correct? All right. I'm really going to confuse you now. So now that we've got Docusign set up, what does that have to do with command? This is confusing. All right? So command keeps all of your documents in the Docusign repository. So Docusign is your document management system that just happens to plug into command. But as we have just seen right here, Docusign is its own system. It's a standalone system that not only can you use it for real estate transactions, but you could sell a riding lawnmower if you wanted to. Right? All right. Now, what I have done is, as you can see in my rooms up here, this room right here it says inbox. Well, Pete, how did you get that? Mine doesn't look like that. That's because I went out there and I found a little logo and I said, I'm going to have a room that I'm never going to close. I'm going to keep this room right here, and I'm going to call it receipts. And I keep all my receipts in that room. Anything that's related, I may have a receipt for something, and I can always put my receipts. If I got my wallet and I walk in here and I got a whole bunch of receipts, I can go to the scanner back there and I can scan them all into this room right here. And then, this receipt is for deal number 1 because I went out and paid an electrician out of my pocket, right? And this next receipt is for deal number 3 because I paid a cleaning service. But I want to keep up with that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, I want to know if I'm making any money in the real estate business or not, right? You don't have to do any of this kind of stuff, but I have a folder called and I put this little graphic there so I can always see it and I know exactly what folder it is. This particular deal is a picture of the house from the listing. And none of these have any pictures at all because I haven't uploaded any picture. But you can put any picture that you want. You can put a picture of your son and your daughter and your husband, and it doesn't really matter. It's just that this is a shortcut to say, I remember the Claremont deal. Okay? That part's up to you if you want to prettify it.
The recently reviewed, can you change this order of that?
The recently reviewed.
The receipts is number 3. Yeah.
Well, no, recently viewed, no, because recently reviewed is chronological,
Okay.
right? But I can come over here to where it says rooms. Well, I guess I'm already there. But I can also, instead of doing a line list, I can do it like this. Okay, so I'm in the rooms section, and this is all of my deals. Okay? You may remember that picture. That was the poker game that was here last Thursday. So you can put any picture you want. All right, so if I go to dashboard, it shows me all of my stuff recently looked at, right? If I go to rooms, and it shows me all of my rooms that I have visible that I have not archived. Okay, now if I go to my inbox.
So those are just like folders.
We used to call them loops.
I don't know anything about
So you don't know dot loop either?
No,
So we'll call them folders.
Okay.
These are folders with pictures, right?
And how do you create the folder or the,
Good. That's exactly where we're going.
okay.
So there's several different ways. One of the ways is you could click New up here, but so I'm maybe giving you too much information, but generally speaking, you would create a room because you have an opportunity in command. And one of the things that happens when we go into command, first thing that happens is we have a lead. The lead in command becomes a contact. And we nurture that contact for a period of time until the contact raises their hand and say, I want to buy a house, or I want to sell a house. And it may be next spring, but in your gut tells you, there's a deal here. There's a deal here. So at that point, the only thing that you have in command is a contact and their telephone number and their eye color and their shoe size and whatever. You decide that, I think there's a deal here, so you create an opportunity. And once you create the opportunity, now you have a whole workflow of steps of things that you want to do with this person that ultimately is going to get you to a close. And in a previous class, we went over opportunities in all the stages and all the phases. Right? You can create an opportunity at any point. My rule, this is Pete's rule, you create an opportunity when your gut tells you, there's a deal here. But you're going to have, Jeannie's got thousands of contacts in her database. Thousands. She's not going to do a deal with every one of them. But over time, as she markets to them, somebody's going to raise their hand and say, I want to do a deal with you, Jeannie. Jeannie's going to create an opportunity. And now that you've got that person in your opportunity, you're going to move them from phase to phase to stage. And at some point, you're going to create a transaction that you want to keep stuff. For instance, you had a lead, they became a contact. The contact finally raised their hand and said, I want to do a deal, I want to sell my house. And you go, great, this is super. So you go out, you create an opportunity, and one of the first things that you want to do, is you want to get, hey, do you have a copy of your warranty deed? Well, they may have a hard copy of it. Some people might have a PDF, but the vast majority of them have a hard copy. Whether you take the original or they give you a photocopy, you're going to come in here, you're going to go to the scanner back there, you're going to scan it in, and what email address are you going to send it to?
jposner@mail.docusign.net.
Bingo. Okay? So that is going to take that document and it's going to put it in your inbox. Well, the inbox is a holding tank. The inbox is not a room. It's just a holding tank. And it's like the reception area. All right, so now the person is in the reception area. We don't know which office to put that person in yet. We don't know which room to put that person in, right? So we go into our opportunities in command, which is what we're about to do right now.
So now you want us to go back to...
So you should have command already open on a different tab.
Yeah.
All right. So once you go into command, I want you to come down here to your opportunities. Now, in my opportunities, it looks like I have 3 deals in Cultivate, I have 1 deal in Active, I have 4 deals under contract. Those are listings. If I roll down just a tad, for buyers, I have 1 active buyer and 1 buyer under contract. Okay, your results may differ. So when do we create opportunities?
That's interesting.
When we think
When
there's a
somebody
deal.
raises their hand.
Bingo. When your gut tells you that I'm going to do a deal, you create an opportunity so that you can track it. So in this case right here, I've got 3 people that have raised their hand and say, I want to do a deal with you. So I'm going to cultivate them for some period of time until they do all the steps that I have defined for myself. And once they do all those steps, I'm going to drag that to the appointment stage. And once I've had the appointment and I've got the listing, I'm then going to drag that to the active stage, and we're going to start marketing that property. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen then. And as we check all the boxes and say, I've done all this kind of stuff, then somebody's going to say, I want to buy that house. So you're going to drag it over to under contract. Okay? And every time that you do this, you have the ability to track the probability of closing. So this is a snapshot that you can say, right now, Pete in the cultivate stage has about $750,000 in the cultivate stage. Okay?
Is there a way to find out, like you have 3 under cultivate, if you wanted to see which 3 they are, how do you do that?
You're a great straight man. Okay? Let me keep going for just a
Okay.
second. All right, so do any of you guys do coaching with Terry?
Yes.
Okay, so what Terry and I are doing is I'm sitting down with Terry and I'm showing Terry how to use this tool, because if I was your coach, if I was your sales coach, we would sit down here and we would look at where all of your business is and what seems to be hanging up this. So you got 3 deals right here, and the Jones deal, you've been in nurture for like 6 months. So obviously they're not taking the necessary actions to move this deal forward. How can I, as a coach, help you on the Brown deal, move it over to get a listing appointment, right? So this is a tremendous piece of software that allows you to see a snapshot of all of your business and where your business is, okay? The question was, well, all right, we got 3 deals in Cultivate. How do I know which 3 deals they are? Well, guess what I do? I left click one time on the little flower pot and it opens. Notice in the top right, top left, it says Listings Cultivate. This shows you all of my deals in the Cultivate stage. I have 2 where the deal is a possibility. I have 1 where the deal is getting hot. Okay? All 3 of these are under the Cultivate stage, but underneath the Cultivate, I have, in my case, I have 3 different things that I have defined for my workflow. Yours are probably totally different because you do business differently. Okay?
Oh, I was thinking just because we're working with different people, so they'd be different.
Well, but see where it says deal is a possibility? Yours doesn't say that.
Right.
What does yours say?
Watch.
Okay, and then what's the next?
Nurture.
Okay.
Hot.
And see, I changed that to say deal is getting hot.
Okay.
So you can change it to be anything. And there's only 3 right here. You can have, in your case, you have defined, if you think about it, you've got a business that you run. All of a sudden you're doing really well and you hire somebody else. You hire me to come work for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down with me, you're going to say, Pete, here is how we do business at Genie Incorporated. These are the steps that you go through, and I, as the owner of the company, are going to help you, and we're going to look at your deals, and we're going to see how we can drag this over to here. And as soon as this particular deal right here, I have 0 of 4 steps because I haven't defined any steps. But watch what happens is when my buyer has done whatever it is I'm expecting them to do, I left click and I drag and I drop it in the nurture right there. Okay? Now, they still haven't done enough to get to the appointment stage. But let's just say that 123 Main Street, we've had a conversation, we talked on the phone and they said, hey, can you come over Tuesday night and give me a listing presentation? I'm not cultivating anymore, am I?
No, you're getting
So
hot.
what am I going to do?
You're going to move it to deals getting hot.
Well, yeah, all right, because I saw them at the grocery store and said, you know, we're really thinking about it. We're really going to sell the house now, for sure. All right, so the deal's getting hot. And so from the grocery store, you said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll call you later on this afternoon and let's look at the calendar. So this afternoon you call them and they say, can you come over next Tuesday and give me a listing presentation. So now this 123 Main Street, I'm going to drag it from the deal is getting hot up here to the appointment phase. So I left click and I drag it and I make the, see how it changed colors? See how it changed teal in the background? Right there. All right, hang on, I'm going to leave it right here. A box pops up. When I drag it over, a box pops up. What I'm looking for is the box to change color, and when it changes color, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to left click and drag. See how there's boxes, little dashes? Now when I get closer to appointment and I get right on top of it, that little dot 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 is going to turn teal color. And bloop, see how it turned teal color? And I'm going to drop it, and now it's not here anymore. Where'd it go? It's not part of Cultivate anymore. So we go to the appointment phase, and there it is in the appointment phase. All right? And they did everything that I wanted them to do in the appointment phase, and I got the listing, and I drop it on active, and now it's in active, and all of a sudden somebody comes by and says, that's the greatest house I've ever seen. Here's an offer. They accept. I drag it to under contract, and now that particular deal is now under contract. Okay? We're under contract. Now, what should have happened a long time ago is that the story that I was leading with is we're going to create somewhere where we can store documents like the warranty deed and whatever else, the disclosure statement, right? So, if I open this deal right here, I click one time and I open it. This is everything you ever wanted to know about 123 Main Street in a second or two, or maybe three. Nancy, how close are you to that 81 by 3?
It's still,
You're still working on it?
still in the 50s.
I can tell because you see this circle up here. I call it the KW, spiral of death.
So much so that I tried test 2, and that's still unplanned. Thinking maybe I did something wrong on test 1.
Or maybe
I'm jamming up the system.
Or maybe go back into Docusign and see what email address you actually set up for yourself.
I did that.
And you hit, and it is the correct one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm going to refresh and see if the likelihood is it made it over there or not. Okay, it made it over there. So, this is everything that you ever wanted to know about 123 Main Street. Now I have the Details tab, I have the Documents tab, I have the Offers tab, I have the Commissions tab. Commissions tab is not even highlighted yet because we haven't had an offer and we haven't accepted an offer. That's why the Commissions is not there. But in this particular story that I'm telling you, we went out, we got the warranty deed, and we want to put the warranty deed in this opportunity. So I've gone to 123 Main Street, I click on Documents, and it says that if a listing, and it says I need to add the following items. A listing agreement, it says not uploaded, okay? Legal description, warranty deed, it says conditionally required. Doesn't mean you have to have it, but I'm one of these sticklers for getting all my stuff, right? So, it says not uploaded. Remember we had, several weeks ago, we had a compliance class, and how do we get our documents to Lynn LaCroix for review? This is how we do it. Okay? So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to say I want to add a file. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say go to transactions. I have already created a DocuSign loop, a DocuSign room for this. But when let me go backwards. So when I click go to transaction, all right, do any of you have an opportunity created at all? No? This means yep, I got one created. This means no. No. Jeannie?
Is a watch an opportunity? I don't think so. I don't think I've put it.
Well, okay, so let's do this. Let me show you this, and then we'll figure out how to create an opportunity for you. All right? So I'm going to go to transaction. It's going to launch. In my case, I had .loop. I didn't want .loop. I wanted DocuSign. Earlier this morning, I told you that you can either use Loop or you can do Docusign, but you can't do both. So if you create an opportunity in Loop, you have to stay with Loop. If you create an opportunity in Docusign, you have to stay in Docusign. This particular example that I'm using, when I did it the first time I ever created it, I was showing somebody how you do it in Loop, and that's why Loop is popped up right here. So this kind of screws up my whole presentation. So we're going to X out of that, and X out of this. We'll come back over here. So let's do this. All right, I'm coming back to command, and I'm coming back to contacts. All of you have at least one contact in your database, correct? All right, so I want you to go pick somebody. And I'm assuming you also have yourself in here, correct?
Not anymore, I got that back in.
But you got somebody in there, correct? So go and open a contact. And your screen should look like mine.
And what's the difference in 72%, the health score? What is that?
The health score is
How much information?
the gods in Austin are trying to help you out. And what they're saying is that of all the information that we collect on a contact, you've got 72% of that information. You may not have their home address, you may not have a telephone number, you may not have an email address. So on this particular person, Angel, my contact, I have 72% of all the stuff that there is to collect. Okay? Now we'll say this, where we're going in the future with marketing, having a home address is going to be huge. There's some really cool stuff that we can do if you have their home address. Really cool. Okay? I'm not going to talk about it today, but I'm just telling you, if you've got all these people in here, the more home addresses you have, the cooler it gets. Okay? All right, so for Angel, we've been talking to Angel. I've been nurturing back and forth with Angel for 6 months. Angel finally raises her hand and she says, I want to sell my house. When do we create an opportunity?
I'll do it now.
Whenever your gut tells you there's going to be a deal, right? So I've got to Angel right here, and I come over here to this tab that says Opportunities. Do you see it on the right-hand side? I left-click one time on Opportunities, and I say Create Opportunity. So I want you to go to whatever contact you have on your screen there, and I want you to come over here to the right. I want you to go to the Opportunities tab, and then I want you to create an opportunity. So for our hypothetical opportunity, you tell me, is this going to be a listing opportunity, or buying opportunity, or a lease? What do y'all want it to be? Today's Friday, it's going to be a listing deal. Okay? It's going to be a listing opportunity. Angel, in my case, it's going to be Angel. In your case, it's going to be whatever name you have listed there. Okay? Custom tags, this is not an opportunity class, so I'm not going to go into custom tags. I'm not worried about when we're closing just yet, because Angel says, I want to sell my house, but I'm a hoarder, so I got to get rid of all my stuff. We still know there's a deal. We're still going to create an opportunity, but right now we have no earthly idea when we're going to close on this deal. So we leave it blank. Commission, we're going to leave it blank. The opportunity phase is cultivate. Okay? Because she's raised her hand and she says, I want to sell my house. So we got to do a little cultivating before we get the listing agreement. So I'm going to create an opportunity. I'll left click one time on create opportunity. And now, as you can see on the right hand side, it has her name, listing, and there's an opportunity there. So you did the same thing, correct? So all three of you now have an opportunity.
Do you want us to click through even though it's...
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So now I'd love to see all of my opportunities, not just Angel. Okay. So over here on the left-hand side, where all my icons are, I come down to the hands shaking, where it says opportunities. I left-click one time on opportunities. and I now have all of my opportunities listed. You should have one. If you're in the cultivate phase, then you should have a number 1 underneath the flower pot, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to left click one time on the flower pot and find that particular listing you just created. Found it?
Mhm.
I want you to hover over the contact where it says listing. I want you to left click one time. And this is,
We were hoping over what?
I want you to hover over the flower pot.
I did that.
Left click one, is underneath the flower pot, does that have number 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's got.
All right, so I want you to left click on the flower pot. And now all of your deals, all your opportunities for this phase show up.
Right.
I want you now to left click on top of the one you just created.
That was the step I
And
missed.
that will
Okay.
open, and this is everything you ever wanted to know about this particular opportunity.
Okay.
Okay? So now notice that we're under the details tab because of the little green line is underneath details. If I left click one time under documents, this shows me all the documents I have for this opportunity, which are none, correct? If I wanted to know all the offers and I left click under offers, this would show me all the offers I have, which are none. Okay? So I want you to go back over to documents. Okay? Now, over here on the left, it says listed, and if I left click under contract, it gives me a totally different list of documents that we need when we go under contract. And if I click under closed, it gives me a totally different list of documents that we need when we close. Okay? So what Command is doing is trying to help you out and saying, hey, when you're in the listing phase, here are the documents that you should be concerned about. When you're,
That's good.
okay? Pretty neat?
I mean, yeah.
Okay? All right. When you're in the under contract, different documents. When you're closed, different documents. But when you close now, you basically have this big box of all the documents of everything needed to do this transaction. But what we don't have right now is we don't have a room in Docusign to store this stuff in, right?
Before you leave that, custom, are you coming back to custom folders?
Well, so custom folders, if you wanted to have a folder for receipts or you want
Well,
to have
like I've got some, I talked to 2 people yesterday that said, yeah, in the next 6 months I want to buy something.
okay.
So, and their previous clients, would I take my information on that previous transaction and put it into,
Is it relevant to this new transaction?
yeah, I think
I
one of
will.
them will.
Absolutely. And is it in .loop?
In paid version, yes.
Okay, so let me go off in the weeds for a second. This is a prime example.
Okay.
You go into whatever document management system you used to use, the paid version of XYZ, you open up the document you're talking about, and you email it.
To Nancy A at mail.docusign
Boom.
and put it into that
Boom.
folder. Okay.
There you go. That's exactly what
Okay.
you would do. Okay? So what we want to do now is we've created an opportunity, and we've got some documents that we want to put into this opportunity, but we haven't created a room in Docusign yet. So you see in the top right corner where it says start a transaction. Top right, start a transaction.
Yeah.
All right. See there's a down arrow beside it? Now mine says DocuSign and .loop because I've done some monkey business. Yours probably just says DocuSign.
Doesn't have an arrow.
Mine doesn't have.
Doesn't have anything? Okay, well, that's because you don't have any options. All right. So click on Start a Transaction. And what does it do?
Looks like it's going to take me to DocuSign. Yeah.
Okay. Now it opened another tab, correct?
Yeah.
And you have to log into DocuSign.
It logged in.
Okay, it's already logged in. Good. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Mine told me to add documents to my room.
Okay, good. That means
Right,
it's-
because it logged
so-
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so do you have a second tab open on your browser that's DocuSign? You
The
see, look
second
at my
one or
screen.
just,
Look at
yes,
my
there's
screen.
2 now, yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, so I want you to go to the DocuSign tab,
The first one?
I'm not sure which one, but look at both of them.
Well, they're the same.
Good. And you didn't have to hit create or anything. It said it already did.
It just
for you,
did,
right?
yeah, it took,
Let's see.
so, like this was
Okay.
this was the new one. That's the one we just
Roads
made.
listing, right? All
Uh-huh.
right, so that's where we want to be.
Okay.
Okay. Now click on rooms, and it will show you all of your rooms, of which you will only have one. When it catches up, see where it says waiting right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll catch up.
On this screen.
Yep,
You're
it's
good.
got the
So
one
you're
room.
in that
Okay.
listing. That's good. I want to see all your rooms, so click on rooms for me. And it's going to show me all your rooms, of which you only have one. So it'll catch up in just a second. Boom. So there's your room, right? Okay. All right, Nancy, what do you got?
I have this, but Docusign says it's empty.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So this is the net new one that you just created, correct? All right. Kill that one. Okay, Nancy listing, there it is right there. So this is the room that you just created.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to see all your rooms, so I'm going to click right here, of which we're only going to have one, because you only have one. See where it says waiting right here? In just a second, he's going to pop up, and there's your room. Okay? Now, if you wanted to get funny, then you could click on it and put a picture and all that kind of stuff. But what I wanted to show you is now we have a room for the particular opportunity that you created, right? So now we can start dumping stuff into it. So look at my screen. All right, your screen looks similar to mine, except I have more stuff, right? So I want you to left click on the room that you already have on your screen and open that room.
And who are the other two people? It said there are three people that
It's
are in
like
the room?
it's like an MCA. It's like Ellie.
Okay.
It's like Ellie and Lynn or somebody like that. Because the whole compliance thing, all right, that was different training class. But as you get a listing agreement, you're supposed to send it to compliance, and now as you get all these documents, you're supposed to send it to compliance. So those are people that look at that stuff.
So I have to take that class.
All right. So now we're in this particular room, and your room looks very similar to my room, doesn't it? Okay. But you see up here at the top it says details, documents, people, envelopes, messages, and history. What I'm most interested in is all the documents that we have associated with this particular listing. So I'm going to click one time on documents, and it says, dude, you don't have any. But I know I got one because I scanned it in a minute ago, right? Where do you think it is?
Inbox.
You're great. So what are we going to do now?
Click on inbox.
Click on inbox. And what do you see?
Nothing.
My God, you still never came.
I'm
Nancy.
still waiting.
That's right. Well, I've been waiting on you to divide 81 by 3 for like 30 minutes, and you still haven't given me the number yet. So when you give me that number, it'll be in there. All right, so now
How do you move it?
you have documents because you've scanned them in. Well, notice mine. This is just for kicks and grins, but I created a listing document when I did a listing presentation. I created a listing document using command, and I went and I sat down with the family and I gave them this thing and I got the listing. I'm like, okay. So I took the listing agreement and put it into Docusign because this is the listing agreement that won this deal. Am I a little obsessive? Maybe. But this is the kind of thing that you can do. So that a year from now, 2 years from now, you can come back and say, this is the listing agreement that I used to win this $7 million house. Okay? This is the buyer brokerage agreement. These are the receipts that we fixed some stuff outside before we put it on the market. this is the Eric Church World Tour Photography Agreement, but the bottom line is I scanned all this stuff in, and now I want to put it into the correct room. Notice in the top left of these little icons, when you hover over it, there's a little white circle that appears, and if I left click one time, it puts a checkbox there. Okay?
What does that mean, that you viewed it?
Well, that means that I have selected it. So this particular document, and notice the icons up at the top above it, it says move, copy, email, download, or delete. I want to move this document from my inbox to my room. So I click on the move button, and it pops up and it says select a destination. I want to go to an active room. I want to go to the room called Angel Anderson Listing, in my case, and I want to move it. Now, it's out of my inbox and it's into my room. How do we get back to my room?
Click on the room.
Well, right now we're in the inbox.
Right, so click the room.
So I'm going to click on Rooms. And hopefully it'll come up in just a second. $81 divided by 3. Boom. All right. So now here's Angel Anderson, and here's the listing. And if I click on that listing and I come over to Documents, there it is, right there. Now, I'm not going to go much further because I may blow your head out, but here's something. This is the coolest cool. In my case right now, if you look at my screen and we go to my rooms, notice that I have a whole bunch of rooms, meaning I have a whole bunch of deals. Well, so theoretically, if we went to a scanner or we had another agent email us the document over, it comes into my inbox. And then from my inbox, I have to move it over to the correct room, right? Well, it's not hard to do. You just did it. So you know how to do it. But wouldn't it be even better if when they emailed it directly in to the correct room? Now you don't have to do squat. Okay? Here's how you do it. Every room, irrespective of what you name it, this room is called Angel Anderson Listing. But if you'll notice, when I click on Angel Anderson Listing and open it up, right underneath it, it says ID number 2716317. Every single room has a unique 6-digit number. If you take that pound sign and the 6-digit number, in my case, if I say pound sign 2716317, now what I do is there's a tool that's part of Google. If you use Gmail, over to the right hand side you have Task and you have Google Keep. I don't know if you've ever used that or not, but you can create a little cheat sheet note. And what I do is I've got this little Google Keep note that says deals. And when I open it up, I put every deal and what the 6-digit number is. So irrespective of where I am, if I am at a restaurant and an agent calls me and says, I want to email a contract over to you, I say, great, let me give you my email address. It is pete.english@mail.docusign.net. And Jeannie, if you would, in the subject line, would you simply put the pound sign 2716317? And she's going to say, what was that? I said, pound sign 2716317. And the agent's going to say, okay, got it. And when they email that contract over, not only is it going to go directly into Docusign, it's going to go directly in to this room. Boom. Done. Okay? So we are in Docusign. We've got the document in Docusign. And if I go back over here to Command, we now can come over here to the, this was, let's just say it was a listing agreement that was sent over. So now I've got all the documents that I need to send to Lynn LaCroix. So what I want to do is in this listing agreement, I'm going to click Add a File, and I'm going to say it's in Docusign. So I click the little button, and I search for a specific, well, there it is. So it's already there because I've only got one document in there, right? And I hit Assign, and so now I have the listing agreement PDF that was just emailed into me. I'm making this story up as I go, so follow, just bear with me. And at this point, I can simply hit Submit to Market Center, and this listing agreement now goes to Lynn for review. So we kind of went around my tush to get to my elbow because we're talking about Docusign. Docusign is a document management system that allows us to keep up with all of our stuff. And this is where it all comes back. Okay? So what we've done so far this morning is we created your Docusign account that we don't have to do again. Okay? We've gone in and given you a unique email address that you can use to make life a little easier. We've connected Docusign to Command, and we've gone into an opportunity, and we've taken the opportunity far enough along in the life cycle of the opportunity to have needed to put some documents inside our opportunity. And we've used Docusign to be the repository to keep the documents. Now what we haven't gone over, and we won't today, but it's not all that hard, is to simply go into Docusign and send it out for e-signature. Right? When they have the GAR forms, then you'll be able to bring up the GAR form and click, you put it's just like .loop, right? You could do it today if you wanted to. Here's another little trick that you could do today if you wanted to. You could go into .loop, you could create the GAR, you could use the GAR form, right? And you could do the whole thing via .loop, and when it comes back in, just send it into Docusign.
You send it as a PDF?
Yeah. Now the cool thing about Docusign is Docusign will allow you to upload multiple types of documents. Command won't, but Docusign will. So what do? Right now we're looking at Command, but if we flipped over to that other tab where we were just in Docusign, I create a custom folder and I upload all of my photographs of that property into Docusign to keep. You may need them one day. Okay? I keep all my receipts in there. If you had a Word document, you could put that in there. If you had an Excel spreadsheet because you had multiple offers and you wanted to have you had a spreadsheet that you presented to the seller, you could upload that Excel spreadsheet into there. It's a big old wheelbarrow that you put a bunch of stuff in. And that way you can keep up with all your stuff per transaction forever. Make sense? Whew.
Okay.
So now you've got a fake opportunity. You've already got a Docusign account. You go out to the scanner and draw a happy face on a piece of paper and email it to your email address. If you put the 6-digit code, it'll go straight into the room. If you don't put the 6-digit code, where does it go?
Inbox.
Bingo. It goes into your inbox. You're going to get notified every morning for the rest of your life about Docusign stuff. That's all I got.
Where did you, originally, I did find the 6-digit code.
Okay? You open the room.
Oh, hold it, now I just see it came up. No, that's an opportunity ID. That's
All right?
not the-
If you're in opportunities, then you are in command. You need to go to the
Oh,
tab
Okay,
that has the Docusign.
that's why it wasn't
So
showing
as
up.
far as I
Okay.
know,
And now it shows up,
okay,
okay.
as far as I know, nobody at command knows about this little trick. Okay? This is a Docusign trick. Okay? And this is beyond the scope of this conversation, but Docusign also has a print driver that you could install on your Windows computer, and any document that you print, you could send directly into Docusign. You could literally have a Word document, and you could go File, Print, and instead of sending it to the Kyocera printer back here, you go File, Print, and you choose Docusign. It pops up and says, what room, what room do you want to send it into, or blah, 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 and you could send stuff directly into Docusign that way. But I don't want to get into that because I'm opening up a can of worms having to support that. But you can do it, and I use that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, I just learned that that's how you can, if you go into print mode, then you can switch it to a PDF.
Correct.
I just learned that recently.
Correct. So,
it's kind
but
of the same
if you
thing.
understand that paradigm,
That's why I understand.
then that's
what-
exactly what we're talking about. Is
Right.
technically you are creating a PDF, but you're going one step further. As you're
Sending
saying,
it
create a
somewhere.
PDF and send it to Docusign.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have to have that account first. Then you have to download the print drive, and you have to jump through here and jump through here. And blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so the pound sign needs to go in front of the 6 digits. Pound sign and 6 digits, and it'll go directly into the room. Otherwise, it goes into your inbox. Okay? That's all I got.
Okay. That was good.
Go forth and conquer. So I'm going to turn off the stream, and then we can look at, we've got some individual stuff.